In question 1, the area which I did some research into was horror conventions in our subgenre. I'll be discussing if we developed, challenged or supported these conventions during our trailer. The first convention which I looked at was the setting of supernatural horror, as this is our subgenre. Generally, the setting is normally in the home of the main character. We supported this convention 100% as our trailer was set in the garage of the main character's home. We chose to set it in the main character's home as we believed it would be much more effective and scarier if the victim was tortured by an intruder in their own home. In addition to this, in our trailer, our main character was a female actress. This is a convention of supernatural horror films. We decided to use a female due to the stereotype of women being vulnerable and gentle. Using a female actress will definitely draw the audience in and will create sympathy and fear. In supernatural horror films, it is a common convention that the protagonist is a ghost or a spirit, for example, Paranormal Activity and Insidious. However, we challenged this stereotype and made the protagonist a human being. However, throughout our trailer, you don't see him. We chose to use a person instead of a spirit because we wanted our actress to be tortured and abused and neglected, and we thought this would be done most effectively by a person than a spirit. However, later on in our trailer, she does become possessed and is controlled by spirits. So we also developed this convention as well as challenging it. In our trailer, the costume of the actress is simple so that the attention isn't diverted away from the actress and the action during the scene. This is also a common convention of supernatural films. In addition to this, another convention with costume is that clothing is rarely provocative. However, our actress challenged this convention by making our actress wear a boob tube, so that during filming, using our mid close-ups and close-ups, she looks naked. We chose to do this after watching a variety of trailers on YouTube, especially one called Pretty Liars. That our sound is one of the most important elements of horror films, and we used this to build tension and suspense. Another convention of super horror which we used was asynchronous and parallel sound. We did this by using whispers while the actress was becoming possessed. The whispers represented her transformation and the voices in her head. We thought that this was very effective as the sound anchors the actress's movement. In addition to this, it builds tension and suspense, encourages the audience to continue watching. In our trailer, the use of lighting is low-key, which is also a convention of horror films. We used low-key lighting as in all the trailers we watched prior to making our trailer, all had low-key lighting, and this is a sign of danger. We also developed this by using red light, which is profile lighting. We used the red light to represent danger, sinister and harm, while the actress is chained up. Lastly, a common convention of supernatural horror is a variety of props, such as sharp objects like knives, in the setting. However, we challenged this convention as we had no sharp objects visible in the setting, only letters and candles. These letters and candles represented her condition. The candles represented her light, but also represented her time for running out. In addition to that, we also had letters to show she had been missing for a long time, and that people were concerned about her. The reasons we didn't use no sharp object is because it would be irrelevant and confusing. Thank you.
My name is Laura, and I was looking into conventions of teaser trailers and if we supported, challenged or developed how teaser trailers are usually made. Usually teaser trailers are not in chronological order, and they usually so the beginning will probably be in the middle and the end will probably be at the beginning. So we kind of supported that because in our teaser trailer you can see that we don't actually have it in a chronological order, because you will see the setting of the garage and then you'll see the girl, which doesn't usually happen because usually you'll see her straight away without seeing the setting first, but the setting was already made up. And if we look at the ending as well, it says mortem, so it goes back to when she was standing in front of the camera right at the beginning. So everything's a bit mixed up to try and confuse our audience. Usually when making a teaser trailer, it's aimed at a specific age group. So our age group was 15 plus for our certificate. That's the reason why we used an actor who was about that age group, so a young girl called Becky. So we supported that because it's usually young girls that they use in horror movies that usually are the ones that are in trouble or facing a problem. So we wanted to also make it seem supernatural, which is why we used red lights, letters, candles. We also used Mortem on her head. We made her head shake a bit to try and also show that she may be possessed or she might see demons. Also with the costume as well, we had a lot of blood on it. She had writing on her head. Her makeup was a mess. Her hair was a mess as well. She had bruises and once again the head shaking as well. You can see that we were just trying to show supernatural for our subgenre. As I was saying with Lemps as well, you can see that we've supported the teaser trailer because usually, once again, it's about 30 to 60 seconds and our one was 47 seconds to be precise. And it's just basically so it doesn't make sense to the audience, so they don't grasp exactly the storyline or what's actually going to happen. The viewers will also see that it's fast-paced scenes, so the scenes have rhythm within the teaser trailer because teaser trailers need to kind of have rhythm whilst going to the sounding that's being made. And the views will also have a sting, so it helps to create a fright or a jump. In a way, we supported it because we have that fast-paced scene at the ending as well when the camera runs up towards her. However, we developed it as well because it's not exactly at the end, it's just before all the credentials and the coming soon and the name of the teaser trailer itself. And we have text captions as well, and that's usually what happens in supernatural horrors. They usually have text captions in their teaser trailers to try and allow the audience to think, what do they mean by this? Or they have a rhetorical question. So you could say we supported that as well. Usually with teaser trailers as well, they usually have voiceovers. However, we didn't have that, so we challenged it. We didn't feel that we needed a voiceover because it had a lot of background noises, so kind of well, there was screaming, well, children talking at the beginning, so you could say that was actually supported as well. But we just tried to make sure we didn't support it fully because we wanted to try and do something different and be different to other supernatural horrors teaser trailers that's been made. The music, lighting and mise en scène was helping to inform the mood of the narrator. So with the music that we used, you could say we supported that convention as well because it kind of went to the mood of our narrator, the actor, sorry, and the genre and character as well. Once again, the fact that it was a supernatural, you could say we supported it. Also, the lighting that we used a red light. You could say it's sinister, which is right at the beginning. So you could say we supported it as well because usually in teaser trailers, it's usually kind of a scary dark, usually black, or they use moonlight blue. So they use a lot of different dark, gloomy colours. Also, we had one dead blackout, which was actually quite right at the beginning, and then that's when the camera and the light starts to come up. We constructed that through Final Cut Pro, and also we have our movie title at the end, and usually for convention teaser trailers they have a far release date. However, we didn't actually have a far release date, we just had coming soon, so we don't actually tell them when it's going to be out or what month, what year, just to make them wonder exactly when it's going to come out. So you can say we challenged that. We have directors, we don't actually have directors' names as well. Once again, we just used a group name, so it doesn't actually say who made it, or they can find out background information on them. And we don't have taglines, we just have captions as well. So once again, you could say that we kind of challenged it because we didn't use it and we thought that captions would be alright, just using 2 captions. So it's not as if we're adding too much and we're confusing them a bit, because they would have already been confused from the whole trailer. Thank you.
Okay, hi, I'm Nicole and I'm looking at the conventions of magazine front covers. The conventions of the magazine front covers have all been followed by in the magazine that I'd created. I'd used Photoshop for that, and I looked at different film posters such as Gemma Zone, which I thought was a perfect example to look at, as it was very simple and related more to what I was thinking about to put into our magazine. The portrait image of the model that was in the Germazone front cover, she had all blood on her face, and I thought that was interesting as it created more suspense in the viewers. And the lighting was also directly shining onto her face, and this mainly focused on the blood around her face, and it brought all the attention onto her face and not onto the background as it was all white. In the magazine covers, I had made sure I followed some of the conventions of the magazine, such as the headline and the cover lines that were around the picture. And I had made sure that the writing was in white and the picture was slightly off balance. And so this showed that there wasn't anything that was right in the film, so it showed that was a bit of off balance in it. I've chosen dull colours to go with the film, with the image, and turned down the vibrance on the image. So this made the image look very lifeless and cold, that it had given off like people different feelings and emotions to it, to make them think what they wanted to think. The lighting on the front cover of our magazine is not very bright and upbeat, as it was compared to the Germazone magazine, which was full of lighting directly in the face, and nothing was behind it. Whereas in our one, there was a garage door behind it, and the background was not very brightly shown. The main font that I'd used in the magazine was Arial size 12 font for the caption bit on top of the headline. And for the headline, I've used another font, and I had to look at the font on the different magazines, and it was mostly Arial sans serif writing, so it was very simple and easy to read, where they have used mainly red and blue in the magazine, which I thought represented injuries that were inflicted on a person. Also, the costumes and body language in the image shows a girl in distress, and she's holding back her head and flinging back her hair. So it shows that she's trying to escape something. And the costume she's wearing is a normal white t-shirt, which had been ripped up and had different stuff on it, like ketchup stains, look like blood stains, and other things that I can put on it. Whereas in the other magazine, it is a normal looking girl, which is looking directly at the camera with just blood marks on her face and looking normal, wearing normal clothes. So not much is given away from the front cover. And